Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Eight Figure Dentist podcast. So, today, what I'm going to teach you is how to remove overwhelm from your life and how to have more free time. Wouldn't that be nice? So, if you are somebody who has weeks or just overall is a little bit burned out or has these weeks when things are just absolutely crazy and you are considering selling your practice, like you don't know how you're going to do this, it's just a lot, and you want to have more smooth sailing as you go through your days and as you go through your life, or especially if you're a parent, if you're mom and you have, there's multiple things that come into play with childcare or maybe drop-offs and appointments and all these things. You're juggling so many hats you're wearing. This podcast is going to be perfect for you. So what I'm going to teach you today is what I teach my clients and what I actually had a whole training. Like I was on stage asked to be a speaker at the WUCON National Orthodontic Conference last year in October in Hawaii. Was my time freedom method. It is something that I truly refined and mastered since I got certified as a coach 10 years ago. And then I've applied it to my life. And I get this question all the time. How do you have 3 jobs, 2 businesses, and third orthodontics, and you have 3 kids? And you don't have a nanny, you don't have childcare, you don't have like an army of helpers, and I don't. And how do you do that? And you still have time for yourself and you're still healthy and sane. So if that's you, if you are juggling multiple things and there are weeks and days, or maybe most of the time you feel pretty overwhelmed, this episode is perfect for you. So what I'm going to teach you is my 3-step process of what I do with my to-do list and my schedule to make sure that I never am out of breath. So when it comes to overwhelm is actually an emotion, and that emotion comes from you thinking that you have so much going on, or some flavor of that thought. You're thinking that there's just so many things on my to-do list, right? And just thinking that makes you feel overwhelmed. Have you noticed how when you have a busy day, you have multiple things on your list, and then at the end of the day, you talk to your husband about that. And the more you tell him about your day, you get even more overwhelmed, even more stressed, and more anxious. Have you noticed? It's almost like, I don't even want to tell you because it's going to make me feel even worse. The reason why is because how we approach our schedule and our calendar is what's going to determine whether we have a smooth week or whether we feel extremely overwhelmed. And the most productive people on the planet know this secret. As you know, we all have the same amount of hours in the week and in the day, but how come highly productive people are able to produce at a higher level and not feel overwhelmed, and others don't? So I'm going to share the secret with you today. So here's what you want to do. I want to make sure that you develop a scheduling system for your each week. And this is the first question that people ask me typically. What do you mean by that? Do you mean online? Is it a Google Calendar? Is it a physical calendar? It really doesn't matter. Anything that you're going to stick to. I'll tell you personally, I have a physical calendar, like a book with weekly, monthly, and daily spaces to write all my lists. Some people prefer Google Calendar or iCalendar. It really doesn't matter. Just pick the system that you think you're more likely to use. Now, here are the ground rules. Ground rule number 1. Never keep your to-do list in your head. And right now, most likely you have some things for the office in your Asana board, some things are on sticky notes, some things you're texting yourself, other things are on the schedule, and some things you're keeping in your hand. So you want to put all of this in one place. And when it comes to your work, if you're using Asana or any of the scheduling calendars, we're going to get there. But If right now your brain keeps going with, oh my God, I have to do clean checks and I have to talk to tennis and I have to remember to call this mom and we have soccer practice and then I have to buy tickets for this conference and I have to buy a hotel, but I don't even know when. And there's like a million of things going on. Step number one, ground rule number one, is you're going to take everything from your brain. You're going to take 20 minutes, piece of paper. You're going to put it all on the piece of paper. Never, ever, ever use your memory to store to-do lists. It's not meant to do that. Okay? That's how it's going to be harder for you to start making decisions going through your day if you're using your brain as a notepad. It's not meant to. You probably heard that expression, the shortest pen or pencil, the shortest pencil is better than the longest memory. I want you to get into the habit of writing everything down, offload everything. That's how you're going to sleep better at night too. I don't want your brain holding any tasks at all. Okay. So that's ground rule number one. You're going to take a piece of paper. And of course, with this podcast, like with all podcasts, I'm going to attach a worksheet that's going to help you do that, help you implement that. So use that worksheet to brainstorm your to-do list. Now, some of you are doing this, but you're stopping there. To-do list is, I want you to hear me, to-do list is never meant to be completed. How many of you had a to-do list and you crossed everything off and the next day you started a new one? Hardly ever, right? We cross off some things and then we keep adding and keep adding and keep adding, and so it's never ending. The reason why it's a problem is because you look at that list and it creates that anxiety in you because you keep thinking that thought, there's so many things on my to-do list because it just never ends, right? You never reach that point of completion. Whenever you complete a task, dopamine is released in your brain and you feel good. If you are never fully completing your tasks for the day, you always feel that pressure of being behind. And that's what's creating this low-grade burnout and just creates a miserable experience of owning your practice, being a mom, and just being a doctor. That's how people start leaving dentistry or selling their practices, and that's not going to be you because you're going to know this 3-step method. Okay? So remember, step number one, you're going to take everything from your brain, your to-do list, and you're going to write it down. Give yourself 20 minutes. Don't give yourself too much time because you can easily spend too much time in this activity. You know, the Parkinson's law, the amount of work expends proportionally to the amount of time we have. Meaning if you give yourself 5 hours to write the to-do list, how long is it going to take you to write that list? 5 hours. If you give yourself 20 minutes, it's going to take you 20 minutes. Okay? So give yourself less time. It's okay if your brain tells you, oh, what if I forget something? If you forget something, you can always add. The next thing I want you to do, the next step is you're going to prioritize. And I'm going to attach with this podcast my priority matrix that I use inside of my mastermind with my clients. Okay. You want to prioritize everything on your list into urgent, something needs to be done within the next 24 hours, important, something that's not urgent, but moves the needle towards your goals and better future. Okay. Organize them into these 2 buckets. The rest is not important. Okay. If you're using Asana or any other software that helps you with to-do lists and tasks setting, maybe your PMS has something like that. Typically, they have a way to set prioritization there so that you can color code it. This is urgent. This is non-urgent but important. This is urgent but not important. And this is not urgent and not important. So the 4 categories. Okay. So that's how you want to separate all of your tasks, because step number 3 is now you're going to transfer all of these tasks from the priority matrix onto your calendar. Many of you are skipping the step of dividing and prioritizing tasks because you're thinking, I don't have time to do this. It doesn't take a lot of time to do this, but then you have a structure to everything that you need to do for the week. Okay. So I really want you to spend a couple of minutes doing this. Then you're going to use this, you're going to take this matrix, you're going to put it onto your calendar, either a physical calendar or an electronic calendar, doesn't matter. But a big step that most of you are missing is that everything on your to-do list has to have a home on your calendar. So that means is if it says, I need to do clean checks, when? Look at your week. Okay. When are you going to do this? Are you going to do this on your admin day? When? At what time? Literally block off that time. Have you heard of time blocking? Block off that time on a Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. I'm doing clean checks. On a Tuesday during lunch break from 1 to 2, I'm writing referral letters. On this day, from this time, I'm meeting with Susie, my office manager, and we're talking about marketing flyers. You want to block it off on your calendar. Okay. And the way you start blocking off the calendar is put on the hours that you're at clinical, you see patients, then any of the activities or any of the obligations that you have for yourself or for the family, maybe school pickups, drop-offs, like any doctor appointments, anything that's coming up this week, hair appointment or a lunch and learn or any webinar or anything like that, block it off. And then you're going to take things from your to-do list and you're going to put the urgent ones first because they have to be completed within 24 hours. And then you're going to take the important ones next, and you're going to see how much space is left in your week in order to put these things on. Does it make sense? Now, you do this activity every week. I prefer to do this on a Sunday. The week before, I block off an hour of my time. A lot of the time, it's when the kids are napping, and I just go through my week and I get prepared, get really ready. I remember back in the day, I heard this advice of prepare all your clothes for the week. So I used to, unless you're wearing scrubs, I think after COVID, we're all wearing scrubs, but at least in orthodontics, it's not customary to wear scrubs in most offices. We, at least before pandemic, we used to wear, just civil clothes and then a lab coat over. So I would literally set up on a Sunday all my 5 outfits for the week. Let me tell you something. It made my mornings so easy because I would just wake up and I would just grab whatever is there. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm wearing. It's the same makeup. It's the same hairstyle. Oh my God, my mornings were so easy because I didn't have to make those decisions. Decision fatigue is a real thing, and that's why at the end of the day, we're so much more likely to make poor decisions, like say poor food decisions, right? Or skip the gym or not make the phone call. Why? Because we have made so many decisions throughout the day that our brain just reaches the point of decision fatigue. And when you make decisions ahead of time, like with the clothing, same thing with your week, when you look at your calendar on a Sunday, you open it and you block off all the days when you're working because your schedule might be fluctuating. Do this a week ahead of time, not a month. There's too many things can happen in the month. Okay. Do this a week ahead of time. Block off your work schedule first. Decide when you're sleeping. I literally even block off the sleeping hours. Then put any of the responsibilities when it comes to around your children or household or anything you want to do and you like leisure time you want to have, Netflix time, walk, gym, meeting with friends, whatever it is that you want to do. And then you're going to start putting things off of your to-do list. And what you're going to notice is that you have less time than you thought. So you can't quite fit in everything from your to-do list. That is very important. That is the reason why you're feeling so overwhelmed. It's because your to-do list is bigger than the amount of hours in a week. Now you have a decision to make. Now you either throw some things out or you delegate them or you decide to substitute something from your week's activities to finish these projects. When people say, I just need to make time for this, I always laugh because what kind of superpowers that you have to make time? No one has come up with a way to just generate extra minutes in a day. It's impossible. Whenever people say, I'm just going to make time for something, What you really need to do, you need to swap time. You are spending, hear me out, you're spending every single minute of every single day that you have. You go to bed, you wake up, the time is gone, right? So if you want to start doing something new, or you want to add something on your to-do list on your week, that means that you have to stop doing something you're doing right now. Maybe you decide that, listen, I really want to catch up with these things, so I'm going to sleep a little bit less. Or maybe in this period, I am going to delegate all the school activities to my husband. Or maybe, you know what, I'm not going to go to these conferences. I'm not going to say yes to them anymore because I want to be home and spend time with my daughter. But you really want to start deciding, okay, what is it that I want to throw out and substitute so that I have the result that I want to have? And that's, my friends, how you completely eliminate overwhelm. I want to challenge each and every one of you listening to this podcast to do this activity. Don't just passively listen to this podcast. I want to challenge you to actually go print the worksheet in the show notes and actually do this activity. You will be amazed how completely transformed your week is going to be. Not only are you going to feel an incredible sense of accomplishment and feeling in control, you'll be a lot more productive. You'll be a lot less tired. Even when you're working more hours, you will feel so energized and elevated by the euphoria of accomplishment that you will want to continue doing it. So remember the 3 things we talked about. Never keep anything in your head. Write it all down. For the work activities that are in your Asana, prioritize them there. Otherwise, take your written to-do list, prioritize it, use my prioritization matrix if you want, and then transfer everything on your calendar. Nothing on your to-do list can stay on that list. I don't want you to ever have sticky notes. It's okay to have them throughout the day, but then at the end of the week, everything needs to be on your calendar. And then all you have to do is you have to obey that calendar. Sometimes people ask me, but Zhanna, what about emergencies? What if I have to deviate from that plan for the week? And here's what I usually tell them. What constitutes an emergency is something that has to do with blood or broken bones. Okay? Nothing else is an emergency. Everything else can wait. If it's your admin time, close the door to your office, lock it. If your staff decided to squeeze in an emergency patient and they're lying there with their mouth open and the bracket that's drying, okay, position it once and then tell them that, listen, you are not going to come out again. They cannot bother you on your admin time. And quite frankly, truthfully, a bonded bracket is not an emergency. Okay, the patient can wait. All right, my friends, I hope this was very helpful. Let me know, reach out on Instagram, let me know how it goes. By the time this episode airs, I will be in the middle of the maternity leave, probably a month in, enjoying my new baby boy. And I would love to hear from you. Tell me what your wins are. Tell me what you're learning, how much you're accomplishing. Tell me about any of the roadblocks. I love teaching time management, and I can't wait to help you become a time queen. All right, I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye, y'all.